So when did you start on the Sinclair method?
So I started three times. So the first time I started was probably about maybe 2.5 years ago. Um, when I first started, I obtained my prescription from a private provider, in my area. And I knew going into the appointment about the Sinclair method. And so I mentioned it to her, and she said, well, I'd be happy to prescribe you this medication, but I don't know anything about the Sinclair method. So, I started initially, and, I really didn't take it seriously. I just, after maybe about 3 or 4 weeks, I'm just like, this is not for me. Um, and then probably about 2 or 3 months passed, and I was in the same situation that I had been previously. And so I decided to try a different approach. I was just going to take it every day. I was that desperate. I needed to do something. So I took the pill every day and, not taking it 1 hour before drinking. And that was short lived as well. I was like, wow, I really just, I don't want to do this. So I quit probably about 4 weeks after I started taking, maybe I probably didn't last 4 weeks taking it every day. And then about 2 months passed, and I said, I have to take this seriously. And so the third time that I started TSM, I did take it very seriously. And I was able to stay on the medication and actually see results.
So when you say you weren't taking it seriously, what do you mean by that?
I just, maybe it was a more of a mental thing. I just wasn't ready to commit. And so I know that there are a lot of people out there that are like, I'm not ready for this. And for me, it was more of, I don't think I was truly committed to
Yeah.
changing.
So the first couple of times you tried it, it's like you knew you should do something, but internally you weren't super driven to really commit to the process, do it correctly, do it compliantly. Am I hearing you correctly?
Yeah, that's correct. I knew I needed to do something, but was I seriously committed? I wasn't.
Yeah. Were you seeing any results on the method the first couple of times at all? Like to see, oh, this could work, or what was that like for you?
Um, I did see initial results, like, of course, the honeymoon phase where you first start. I saw, I'm like, wow, this is magical. I'm putting down my glass of wine, or I'm not drinking it, a bottle or two. And I saw that both times when I initially started the first two times. It just, it escalated, my drinking had increased after that first week or so. And yeah, I mean, I did see small benefits.
Yeah, and I think that's a common thing for people, as you know, like the method isn't a perfect linear reduction. It's often up and down for a long time. And I think, what's so interesting about your story is that there are people who, like you, they get on the method and they're not super committed. They may not be aware of that fact, but then they're like, oh, this doesn't work because I'm not seeing fast enough results. But really, I think oftentimes there's more to the story there about, are you doing it correctly, compliantly? Are you doing everything that you need to be to make this method a success? And so I think that your story is so fascinating because that, ambivalence to change or just not being super ready is a place that a lot of people can find themselves in. And I think there are things you can do to kind of mentally prepare yourself to get to where you want to be ready. But I also think that's an okay place for people to be because you kind of have to marinate in that spot long enough to get ready. So what is it that made you ready the third time to really commit to it?
I can't remember the specifics and the specific scenarios, but if I could guess, it was probably late night binging, not being able to sleep. I had several breakdowns just in tears, calling a friend in the middle of the night saying, I got to do something. I have to change. I think that was like the final straw for me. Like and if it wasn't going to be the third time, it was going to be something more serious, such as like a rehab or an inpatient facility.
Yeah.
So, my mindset the third time around, I said, I truly don't have an option but to do this.